Don't even move. Don't. Look, you came in for the training. You didn't realize this was part of the training. First one that moves gets it. Oh. Welcome to Progressive Soup. My name is David Stevenson, and I have two captive trainees who I will allow to introduce themselves. Then we're going to talk about training to do shows on Comcast. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Becker.
I'm Scott Blanchard.
And we're going to talk about doing training for Comcast. So how long have you guys thought about this training stuff to do this show? Well, Scott, how long was it that you just thought about doing it before you decided to do it?
About a month. And then I was definitely anxious to start going for it and started the training.
And?
He made me do it.
Really? Does that qualify you as being the devil?
Quite possibly.
Okay. So now, you've done 1 week of training or two?
2.
2 weeks of training. Sarah, how did the first week go? What's the first thing you do when you come into the studio with candy?
I missed the first one. And I got reminded on Facebook today to show up here today. So
Okay.
my first
All
day.
right, Scott, hot potato. What's the first week?
First week we learned the basics. We learned about the control room and the cameras and the basic settings for them. And then today we learned more in depth about what we had to do and actually got to tape part of our own show for 5 minutes.
You did a show today, actually?
Yeah, we did a mock show. It was really cool.
Excellent.
It's fun.
And what drew you to this? What drew you to the idea of coming on cable television? And what part of the process do you want to do? What intrigues you the most?
Well, pretty much everything to do with Scott is fun. So I figured this would be fun. I actually have a degree in photography. It's still photography, though, and this is motion, so it's a little different. I'm trained in lighting, but not like this. This is very different. And I thought it'd be just something, step it up a little different.
It's kind of an exciting thing. We've had Progressive Soup. We've done about 140 shows.
So that's amazing.
And it's been we've done quite a variety of things. We've had a lot of political guests on, obviously, progressive politics. We've had a lot of guests that were libertarians, and we found some common ground with them and progressives.
It's fun.
And then we've had some variety. We had a couple of shows where we had tributes. Two different groups that did tributes to Mary Travers right after her passing. And we had shows on right about the time of Woodstock. We had an author on who was at the original Woodstock. We had Bob Garavell and I. We went up to Woodstock the day of the, the 40th anniversary of Woodstock in 2009? Yeah. And we went up there and combed the grounds and met some young hippie-ish kind of versions of what Bob and I were a week ago. So come on, what kind of you want to do variety shows?
Yeah. I want to do a talent show featuring local talent, people that want to get noticed that maybe not get noticed, whether it's singing, dancing, animals, bands, whatever it may be.
America's Got Talent.
Well, Danbury's got talent. We know that.
Talent, yeah.
We sure do have talent here in this wonderful small city. What kind of talent do you have in mind? Singing, dancing?
Singing, dancing. I have got a video of this dog that does amazing tricks, so he'll be on my show. I myself perform magic and comedy, so I'll do some of that for my show. So anybody that has a talent that's looking to be featured and get known in the area, they're welcome to be on my show.
And we're going to do this on cable television?
On cable television. I'm going bold.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
I haven't figured out what talent I have yet. I was working more in the control room. I kind of like that.
Well, side note to the audience, Sarah is also a real estate professional in the area, of course. As am I, and we're friendly competitors. But there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of acting.
I kidnapped them under stress here.
Well, okay.
Just kidding.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. The gun's still here. And yes, it is excited to see you. there's a little bit of acting in any kind of
sales.
Any kind of sales.
All sales.
You bond with people. You get to know them a little bit. They get to know you a little bit. You entertain them a little bit. You provide a little bit more than just. And here's the bathroom.
Oh, I try to make it fun.
Yeah.
And I do shoot videos of properties I'm selling. Unfortunately, they have humor in them that might not have been intended as I try to film and then I trip on something. But, oh, look at that. Watch that step. It's a lot of fun. And I think video is, going forward, very important to sales because people expect to be shown more than you can show in a picture.
I have mixed feelings about that because, as anybody that's been involved in looking at real estate in recent years knows that we have generally almost up to 16 photos.
Yeah.
Some of which are the inside photos of the house. And I think it's a double-edged sword there in that you want your prospective buyers to see a little bit of the inside of the house, but sometimes buyers can turn away from a house if it has a white kitchen when they want a wood kitchen,
right.
Vice versa. And they can walk away from looking at a house before they actually even get in the front door.
Well, some people say you want to show them enough to tease them to want to come see it.
That's it.
You don't want to show them every toilet in the house. I can't stand people who show that. You really don't need to see every room with a bed in it because you can't tell anything. But if you can tell a story with the pictures, I try to do that. We call them points of emotion. Like, here's the part of the kitchen you'd be sitting in, but we don't show you the rest of the kitchen.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Likewise, the outside of the house you want to show as much of the yard as humanly possible without showing
the neighbors.
I'm
just kidding.
the claptrappy house on this side, or the homicidal maniac's house on this side.
Yeah, how did you know those were my neighbors? Okay, great. That's awesome. Yeah. No, it's all good. It's fun. It's a fun medium. It's very organic. So
it is, and there's a lot of drama and a lot of entertainment.
With selling houses, yes, I could tell stories all night about my clients, but they might see it, and it's not good.
Well, I haven't done it for many years, but I used to write limericks about some of my earliest buyers and sellers. The 5 stanza poem,
right?
Like there once was a buyer from Nantucket,
absolutely,
who needed a house with 11 rooms, or something like that. But Kay.
Make that rhyme now. Okay.
You put me under the gun for that.
Yeah, there you go.
So who have you approached about who do you have in mind for your show?
I have a couple of bands that I've seen at local restaurants.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of karaoke's, a lot of open mic nights.
Yeah.
And I found some people that I like from there. Talked to a American Idol Season 2 contestant, which I won't say who yet. But she has agreed to come on my show, so that's going to be a nice surprise.
Excellent.
Fun.
So I can't wait. I'm look forward to more people, though. I need a lot more people with talent that want to be on the show.
Yeah, we had on the show, we tried to blend a little bit of entertainment sometimes with a little bit of serious discussion. We did a show with 3 young men that are hip-hop artists.
Oh, wow.
And in the first show, they did their hip-hop presentation. And then, it was back in March, the time of the earthquake in Haiti, and we sat down, the 4 of us, and talked about what was going on in Haiti. And one of the young men actually had family in Haiti, so he gave us a not exactly first-hand account, but at least a familial second-hand account of what was happening in Haiti and how his family and how concerned everybody was here stateside as far as what was going on there, and that their family were okay, and it took us through that. It was pretty exciting.
It was a tragic event, but
pictures were awful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's cool. Neat. I was like, when you said you're going to have some entertainment here, I was kind of waiting for you to sing or something. I was like, okay, go ahead.
No, we don't do singing during the show. I did do one presentation of a song I wrote when I was 17, when I had a doctor who deals with adolescent psychology, and we started off the show with me doing an angst song, I'll call it, from when I was a young man, and then my friend, my guest. He didn't exactly have me on the couch, but we talked about adolescent psychology and problems that kids face, and the idea that sometimes parents can be yuppie parents could sometimes, and I saw a lot of this in my contemporaries, how yuppie parents could be a little too friendly to their kids, rather than being parents. They try to be a little too. try to be friends rather than parents, and how the kids generally responded by, "Hey, I got enough friends. Could you mind being a parent and telling me what to do because I'm not ready to make all my decisions for myself yet?"
That's a smart child to say that, though.
No, but that's probably what they're sort of feeling in their heart, and wanting to probably say, especially when later on when they've been little and parents have let them make all the decisions in their life, and all of a sudden they become teenagers and a little bit more rambunctious. And now the parents want to step in and be parents, and I guess as it was put, hey, what happened to the friendly parent? What's this going on now? How come now you want to step in and be an authoritarian at this point in my life when you've kind of let me make all the decisions up until this point?
So what kind of parent are you?
Well, I think I watched a lot of my contemporaries be that yuppie kind of a parent, and I tried not to do that. I try to be friendly with my kids, but not friends. I mean, you could play with them, you can joke with them, you can laugh with them, but you always have to take that step back at appropriate moments and say, okay, fun's over. Now this is what you need to do. And gradually, kids will get that. They'll learn to make decisions for themselves gradually, in measured steps, and gain that independence. But it has to happen gradually, very gradually, and not little kids. Little kids want to be told what to do. Tweens still want to be told what to do for the most part. Teenagers want to be able to start making some of those limited decisions. How about with your kids?
I think it's harder when you have divorced parents.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a totally different game.
My kids were relatively young when I was divorced from my first marriage.
And there's more of a tendency to pull the friend routine because you've lost something, and that's probably a mistake.
I think I found a little bit of that too, and I found a little bit of. Now, did your kids have regular contact with you and your ex-husband?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a schedule, but things like schedules and limits actually made it a little easier to manage, I think, which is good.
And of course, kids will try to play one parent against the other.
Oh, sure.
That's
even
part of the routine.
Even when you're growing up, my parents have been married for over 40 years.
Yeah.
But even married parents, we did try to play them off each other. If mom says no, you ask dad. Come on, everybody does that.
If they say no, ask grandma.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if
Ask who?
Grandma.
Yeah,
grandma, sure.
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. I don't know.
That's one of the. You're not a grandparent yet, but that's
oh heavens no.
That's one of the pleasures of being a grandparent, because you can. And I am a grandparent 4 times over now,
wow.
But you can let the kids get away with a little bit of stuff, right. and when they're tired and cranky,
you give back
to mom and dad. Right. Absolutely.
That's what my dad said was revenge for us, me and my sister, because when I had my daughter, yeah, that's fun. All right.
Off topic, Comcast training or revolution. Okay. Let me put the gun back under the tablecloth. You will talk about revolution for the next 10 minutes. Have you been following the news about Egypt and Bahrain and Tunisia, and lately Muammar Gaddafi in Libya? What's up with that guy?
I don't know. I was listening to that NPR today. I have no idea what's going on there.
I
don't know.
Don't know.
Venture a guess.
I say he's pretty insane.
It's a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, what about democracy? I mean, what's so great about democracy after all?
Because we have our rights. I mean, we can choose our leader. We can express our what we're thinking and not be have anything taken against us for what we believe. We have our right to express how we feel, and I love that right.
And you can do it on
Comcast Channel 23 too, so that's even better.
True that. You sure can.
Would this be allowed over there? Or would we be beaten? It's freedom of expression, even if it's us saying we don't know. At least we can say that, which is a good thing.
I like that. That's good. That's good. See, you guys are budding revolutionaries already.
Absolutely.
So we'll take a little tour over to to the country of our choice and join in. We could go to Egypt. We could go to Tunisia. We could go to Bahrain. We could go to Libya. We could go to Iran.
How about Connecticut real estate?
How about we could go to?
Excellent.
Or we could go to Wisconsin. Like we have some guys.
Great.
We have friends of ours that are heading up tomorrow up to Hartford to express some support for folks out in Wisconsin that are being. I guess the way I would put it, and there might be some disagreement from some of our audience, I would call it being browbeaten by the governor of Wisconsin. And we have something called collective bargaining. We have something called unions, where unions can bargain, where groups of workers, small groups or large groups, can bargain together in order to improve their lot, improve their standard of living, to get what seems to be a better pay, better wages, some retirement benefits. Now, the funny thing about Wisconsin is that the overview that we see about unions from some people is that union workers and state workers particularly make more money than their counterparts in the public sector, the private sector. In fact, Wisconsin is quite the opposite. Not overly so, but they tend to make less money for doing the same jobs. Now, granted,
20% less, Dave.
How much?
20%.
20% less. Thank you.
Yeah, that was on NPR.
Excellent. Well, see, there you go. Well, come on, chime in. 20% less than their private sector counterparts. Now, I'm sure that they have probably a shorter work life to compensate for that. They probably have fewer years to retirement. They probably have maybe some extraneous benefits, healthcare benefits and things of that nature to balance that off a little bit. But the salaries are rather small. And there was something else. Was there something else about they tended to be more educated than the
they're more educated
than the private
definitely.
sector counterparts, and yet making less money. And I think I saw a lot of that when I taught in Florida for 3.5 years in the 70s, and this was back when public school teachers really, our salaries were rather small. I think it was about $12,000 a year, which maybe back in 1976 wasn't a very small amount of money. But
I was pretty small then.
Yeah, it was still pretty small then. Of course, coming out of Western Connecticut State University, and out of our graduating class, I think we had about 220 in our graduating class in education, and 10 of us got jobs right out of college. This is one of the great things that colleges do, is that when they foresee that you're graduating in a field where there are no jobs, they don't really tell you these things. They don't want you to get discouraged and change majors or even drop out of college or go to a different college. They want to keep you thinking, well, when you graduate, there'll be a job out there for you. Well, I ended up in Florida teaching. So we had to travel a lot. Now, and I think out of the 10 that got jobs straight out of college, I think half of them actually went to Australia.
Down under.
Down under. And the offer was from Australia, and did not pick up that offer because it was a little long for me to travel from home. The offer was if you would go there for 5 years and teach. Didn't like it, they'd pay your way there, and then they'd pay your way back. But 5 years, when you're 22 years old, 5 years is a long time.
Absolutely.
It's a big chunk of your life to go someplace where you have no idea where you're going. But back to Wisconsin. So we're having a lot of us are going up to Hartford tomorrow, to express some concern and some support for not just Wisconsin, but union workers in general. Because I think it's safe to say the unions are probably what built America's middle class. It's really what got us to being a country with a strong middle class. People that were making enough money to put food on their table, to educate their kids, to put a little money away for retirement. And it's something that it's
not the unions, it's manufacturing. You need manufacturing.
Okay, good, yeah.
Without manufacturing, you're not making anything. You're just running around a circle, not producing anything. I'm a huge proponent for manufacturing. It's what's missing. It's the good, honest day's work and having something to show for it. It's being taken away from this country. It's taking away its soul. We have no purpose. We can't do each other's nails and hair forever. At some point, the service industry, someone's got to be making something. I think that's the worst part about being in Connecticut. I ran a manufacturing company for 15 years and had to give it up because it is too expensive to be manufacturing in the Northeast, let alone in the United States.
By the way, Magnets and Promotional Supplies, and it was a darn good business.
It was. I actually was started in 1976, and I took it over in 95, and I sold it last year because it was very hard. It's very hard to manufacture products around here because electricity is incredibly expensive.
It is.
Materials are expensive, labor is expensive, real estate's expensive, and it just all adds up. And then there are an awful lot of strange little fees. There's the entity tax, which I'm not in favor of.
Business entity tax, yeah.
$250 a year just to exist.
That's for an LLC?
For an LLC.
Yep.
I don't think that's necessary. It's like, oh, you exist, you breathe, here, pay the government. It's not encouraging small business, and small business is what hires people. I had up to 8 employees at a time, and it's just very frustrating for me because my grandfather was a builder. He built homes. Most of my family are engineers, and somehow that's related to manufacturing. And there are so many people who have jobs in manufacturing. They're nice, decent jobs that don't need this or that specific education. That usually can be trained on the spot. It kept America working, and in a very positive way. And that's where innovation comes. When you're making your bowls, your soup, that's when you learn about bowls, not because you're selling the bowls. When you're making them, that's when you learn about them.
This bowl doesn't say Danbury on the bottom, by the way. It says made in China.
It does. And it's a real shame, because if they made in Danbury, maybe we would learn a better way to make bowls.
Probably so.
And then we would have the innovation, and then the new product, and the patent would be here.
Now, there is hope. And we've had shows where we've talked about transition to alternative energy.
Right.
And how alternative energy, not just the creation of it, the construction of solar panels, all kinds of different alternative energy, windmills, wind turbines.
Right.
How America can become very strong again in terms of manufacturing, not just manufacturing of the items, the technology involved, exporting technology rather than exporting jobs. People that will obviously be needed to sell the product to people, and the fact that we have the energy consumed, particularly in Connecticut, where the cost of energy is.
It's the second highest in the United States, second only to Hawaii.
Yeah. Right. Due in no small part to deregulation, unfortunately. Deregulation was supposed to make it less expensive, and it unfortunately has made it more expensive. But we can bring those manufacturing jobs right back here to Connecticut if we spend the money, invest the money to promote the industry.
I think it should be done. It's really important. I mean, there are not that many people from my age, sorry, who can afford.
Okay, I'm an old guy. What can I say?
To live in Connecticut. I grew up in Newtown, and almost everybody I graduated with moved out of area because they couldn't afford a home.
Likewise, my kids.
They're gone.
New Hampshire, Virginia.
Right, and that's a shame. It's like a brain drain. There's a lot of very smart people that grew up here. Where did they go?
And Connecticut has some wonderful universities for training people to do things, but then again, when the time comes to graduate and find a job, gone.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you really want them to be trained and stay here, but there has to be some way that they can afford to be here, and I think manufacturing is the key to so much of that. That's
absolutely.
Just my little opinion.
I think you're spot on with what we've talked about many times on the show with many different guests about bringing those jobs back to Connecticut. And Connecticut, with the intelligence that we have here, the smart kids, we could be a leader. We could be a leader in the United States and a leader in the world. But unfortunately, worldwide, a lot of European nations have really taken it away from us as far as, particularly with solar energy. Germany produces enough. Germany gets about the same amount of sunlight on the average day as Connecticut. Right. Pretty comparable. Germany creates enough solar power to run all electricity in Germany.
Wow.
They don't have to burn any fossil fuels. They have a lot of coal there under the ground. We have a lot of coal under the ground too, but coal's dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty.
Solar energy is pretty darn clean compared to most any other form of energy. And that's the kind of thing that America needs to do. How much time do we have left?
Okay.
Good. Okay. Thanks. let's go back to talking about shows.
There's more kidnappers. What?
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to get the...
They're all around us.
They are.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Help.
My 38 has turned into a 45, and yes, it is very good. Very glad to see you.
That's awesome.
So walk us through some other ideas for shows, Scott.
Yeah.
Other ideas, but I think a real estate show would be good. If you're a realtor, to give people the idea of what's going on in the Danbury or greater Danbury area. Maybe a cooking show would be a good idea. You know,
I could get you a lot of good guests there because I have Dan Lanzalato, who's been on a couple of times, who's an executive chef down in Westport.
Excellent.
And we've talked about cooking in connection to family life. The fact that dinner time is an excellent opportunity for the family to get together and to bond and to talk about the day and stay close and stay warm with each other. And also it's a time to create good quality food.
Absolutely. And feeding off what you said about family traditions would be probably a good show too. Come on a show and discuss your family traditions and maybe share them with other people.
The wackier the better.
Absolutely, the wackier the better.
And the other thing about the cookie show is, like, I like to eat, so I'll be the one who comes on and eats.
Should be the taste tester.
I'll try it out.
The taste tester.
Like your soup here, your soup is just not very filling. I'm sorry.
Hey!
Kid, cook us some soup.
What can I tell you?
Kidnappers don't feed us.
What can I tell you? We had pizza tonight, so there was no soup.
That's awesome.
No soup for you.
No soup for you.
3 weeks. So, and the Danbury, of course, Danbury is a great melting pot. So you've got an incredible variety of culture here in Danbury.
Right.
I mean, you've got, if you go back, of course, now you've got Ecuadorians and a lot of Central American folks. If you go back a couple decades, you have Vietnamese and Southeast Asian cultures. You've got the Portuguese prior to them, and some
pretty
marvelous.
much everybody is here.
Oh, it's a great.
Keep going.
It's a great small city.
I'm anxious to see the census and how it comes out with the different ethnicities in the area and what the most popular one
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. To me, we're all American.
Absolutely.
Because people say I'm Irish American or I'm Italian American. But where were you born in Ireland? Or where were you born in Italy?
Now we get the know. Okay, this has been Progressive Soup. David Stevenson, Sarah Becker, and Scott Blanchard. Thanks. Good evening.